Hi and welcome to yet another Tea Talk. So today's topic is kind of a continuation of the previous one, or at least it's connected to the same subject, which is relationships and breakups. And today's topic, as you can see, is why a rebound relationship is a terrible idea. Now, a rebound relationship can be several things. It can be just casually hooking up with someone to keep yourself distracted. It can be engaging in a more serious and committed relationship very shortly after a breakup, either because you think that that's what's going to help you move on, or because you think you've actually truly fallen in love with someone who's worth committing to. Either way, it's a bad idea, and I'll explain why. So, when you find yourself newly single, you probably experience quite a bit of hurt. You might have lower self-esteem. You might feel like you're not as attractive. And you might be wondering, will I ever find anyone who's going to love me and give me the attention that anyone would want? So, in that state of being wounded and hurt, it's very, very tempting to just seek some other person who can fill the void of your previous partner, who can make you feel like you're attractive, just distract your mind and really assure you that, yeah, you're a person who someone else wants to be close to. It's understandable, but really, this is not what you should be doing at that point. And it doesn't really matter why you've broken up with someone. A lot of you might feel like, okay, that person wasn't good to me, or they cheated on me, or the breakup for whatever reason was their fault, and therefore I should be able to just move on happily. Even if it's the case that the person that you were with was the cause of the breakup or was the one who initiated that, it does not mean that the good thing for you is to go straight into a new relationship, because there was dynamic in your previous relationship that led to whatever outcome. And that dynamic evolved. It wasn't like that when you guys first met, but it gradually evolved. This is not to say that you've caused all the problems, but you definitely played a part. So you have to be responsible for the part that you played in that relationship. And you might be thinking, hold on, no, I haven't done anything wrong, especially if it was your partner lying to you, cheating on you. But the sad truth is that, yeah, you could have done something wrong, because you could have had a lack of boundaries. You could have allowed someone to walk all over you, or you could have chosen to turn a blind eye to obvious issues, and in many other ways participated in the dynamic of the relationship. So as much as you might feel that you're hurt and that, if it wasn't for the wrong actions of the other person, things would have been the same or they would have been better, and that's fine. But you still need to reflect on what happened. Not only to learn from your own mistakes in the things that you did actively to worsen the relationship, but also learn what you didn't do so that next time around you can make the good choices for yourself. So that brings me to the core of the reason why it's a bad idea to have a rebound relationship. Because the questions that you need to be asking yourself, you cannot ask them if you're occupied with a new person. If your mind is filled with the excitement and the joy of being with someone new, you're going to just bypass all the questions that you need to be asking yourself. You have to ask yourself, why did the breakup happen with your previous partner? And no, it's probably not as simple as he lied or he cheated or I was bored or he got bored or we changed or we're not compatible anymore. Now, why were you compatible at some point and why aren't you compatible anymore? Why did he lie to you? Why did you get bored? There are reasons for all these things, and you need to try and look deeper into that, because I can assure you that you took part in that, and the patterns within yourself, the behaviors that you might not be aware of, contributed to the dynamic. It's never just one party to blame in any dynamic, positive or negative. It's both. So Because you've not been broken up, it means that it didn't succeed. Your relationship failed, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to be interested in going through that yet again. So do some soul searching. Try and find out, are you seeking a certain type of person who can't really fulfill your needs? Do you have a bad habit that you keep repeating in your relationships? Do you have a hard time communicating to the one that you're with how you actually feel? Or do you have a hard time dealing with their emotions? Maybe you never really learned to deal with your own emotions. So whenever that person cried or whenever that person got angry, you didn't know how to respond in a constructive manner. You wasn't able to assure them, you wasn't able to care for them or make them feel loved the way you should have. Or maybe you loved too much. Maybe you gave everything and asked for nothing in return. That might sound like a hero, but it's not. That is someone who don't know their own value and they don't know that it's okay to have needs. And that's just as dangerous because both those sides will lead to a downfall eventually. So for you not to just walk into a new kind of relationship where you'll either be taken advantage of someone seeing your vulnerable state, or you actually end up being in a relationship with someone who's a good person, but because you didn't take the time to learn your lesson, you're going to make the same mistakes and hurt that new person too. You have to learn to reflect on the mistakes that you made and have a serious time out. A lot of us move from relationship to relationship and we're so dependent on having that other person by our side that we don't know who we are anymore. We cannot sleep alone, we cannot live alone, we can't do shopping alone, we can't go to the gym alone, we can't do anything by ourselves because we're so used to being two. And that really just means that you don't find yourself enough. You think that you need someone next to you to validate your presence, to validate who you are, and that with them, you're an upgraded version of yourself, and without them, you're not as much. That's not the case, and you need to let that thinking, or rather that subconscious feeling, you have to let it go. So learn to be by yourself, to see all the beauty in life, while being self-reliant. Not looking at yourself thinking you're a strong person because you're with someone, or you're successful because you're married or in a relationship. No, that's not the key. You are you, and ultimately we come into this world alone, we leave this world alone, and for many of us, a relationship is just an illusion when it comes to psychological security. And I'm sure you know couples who seem happy on the outside, but you know that one of them is struggling, or maybe they're both struggling, and they feel lonely in spite of being in that relationship. So just being by someone's side is not the answer. Being in yourself, with yourself, alone, all one. That's what alone means, all one. That's when you know your true value, and when you embrace that, then you're ready to find someone. Then you're ready to, whether it's just having fun and meeting someone casually and focusing on your work and other things instead, or whether it's committing to someone in a serious relationship, someone who deserves your attention and who you can love in a fair way. When you're ready, go for it, but do not dive straight into a relationship when one has just been broken. And no, 1 month is not a long time. 3 months is not a long time. If you're an adult and you've been in a committed relationship, wait. Wait at least a year, maybe 2 years. I don't care how much you feel like you're in a rush. If you go too fast, it's going to come back and slap you in the face, because you're going to make the same mistakes and you'll be blind in the same way. You will not have learned anything. And your next relationship, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it probably won't last. So that's the reason why you should not go into a rebound relationship.